What's up, everybody? It's Raphael, and I hate people. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on the countdown to the Exodus of Genesis. Get it? Because Exodus means exit, but also Exodus is the next book in the Bible. Anyway, yeah, so I think we probably got maybe like 2 more episodes to do, and we're gonna be done with Genesis. We're gonna be out of there. Let's do a quick recap on where we left off. If I could find it. Here we go. So we left off at chapter 45. We did chapters 42 through 44. Let's see what we got. Okay, so Jacob learned that there was grain in Egypt. He said to his sons, "Go down there and buy some for us, so that we may live." Because in a previous episode before that, Joseph basically was the only one. Well, not the only one, but Joseph had Egypt, basically the only country in the world, the whole world, that had food. So, because there was a great famine, like a 7-year famine or whatever. So yeah, Jacob learned about it, sent his sons. 10 of Joseph's brothers went down to buy grain from Egypt. He didn't send Benjamin, the youngest son. When Joseph's brothers arrived, they bowed down to him. Joseph pretended to be a stranger and spoke harshly to him. Now, I don't know if he just was mad when he saw him or what the case may be, but I mean, if it was me, yeah, I'd be pretty upset. Like, you niggas sold me. Hating ass niggas sold me. Your own brother. I'd be pretty pissed off. But whatever, let's continue. They didn't recognize Joseph. Joseph said to them, "You are spies. This is how you will be tested. You will not leave this place unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one to get your brother. The rest of you will be kept in prison." Could be the big payback. I don't know. Let's keep going. So yeah, he put them all in custody. On the third day, Joseph said, "Let one of your brothers stay here in prison while the rest of you go and take grain back for your starving households." So, of course, he still cared. So he wanted to, send them back home so they can feed their family and stuff like that. But he said, "Bring your youngest brother to me." They said to one another, "Surely we being punished for, what we did to our brother, which is Joseph." But they don't know that's Joseph. And, excuse me, y'all, something in my eye. I don't know what's going on. But, let's see, verse 23. It says they did not realize that Joseph could understand them since he was using an interpreter. So basically, I guess the whole time he was talking to them, he was using an interpreter because I guess Egyptians weren't supposed to know the Hebrew language, I guess. Makes sense? Yeah, they did not realize that Joseph could understand them since he was using an interpreter. So he's supposed to be Egyptian because he's with the Egyptians, and they don't recognize him. So yeah, they didn't know that he knew what they were saying, and he turned away and began to weep. Kind of tried to hide the fact that he was emotional. Understandable. He had Simeon taken, and Joseph gave orders to fill each man's silver bag in his sack. Each man's silver back in his sack. I cannot read, I swear to God. 26, they loaded their grain and left. Then on verse 29, when they came to their father Jacob, they told him all that had happened. Like everything. Jacob said to them, "You have deprived me of my children. Joseph is no more, and Simeon is no more. And now you want to take Benjamin, the youngest brother." Yeah, Jacob he ain't for it. Like y'all like getting rid of all my kids. What's going on? But in chapter 43, they had eaten all the grain they had bought from Egypt. Their father said to them, Jacob said to them, "Go back and buy us a little more food." Verse 12, it says, "Take double the amount of silver." This is Jacob still talking to him, or Israel. I hate it when they do that switch up stuff, but he said, "Take double the amount of silver with you, for you must return the silver that was put back into the mouths of your sacks." Because he's thinking it's probably a mistake that they gave it to him. Let's see. I thought I was done. My bad. On verse 16, when Joseph saw Benjamin with him, he said, they had went back, of course, "Take these men to my house and prepare a meal. They are to eat with me at noon." So I guess Joseph had other stuff to do. Take them to my crib. Maybe show them around. I don't know. We're going to eat. Verse 26, when Joseph came home, they presented him gifts. 29, as he looked about and saw his brother Benjamin, Joseph hurried out and looked for a place to weep. He was emotional. Again, it's probably the first time he saw Benjamin. It's been like, what, 20 years maybe? Anyway, after he had washed his face and came out, controlling himself, he said, "Serve the food." So they feasted and drank freely with him. In chapter 44, Joseph gave these instructions. He gave these instructions to his servants. "Fill the men's sacks with as much food as they can carry, and put each man's silver in the mouth of his sack. Then put my cup, the silver one." Okay, his cup. "Put my cup, the silver one, in the youngest one's sack, along with the silver for his grain." The men were sent on their way the next morning, and Joseph said to his steward, "Go after those men at once, and when you catch up with them, say, 'Isn't this the cup my master drinks from? Isn't this the cup my master drinks from, and also uses for divination?'" Okay, so it's a setup. We're gonna punish him. We need a reason to punish him. So what is this? Verse 8. "Why would you steal the silver and gold from your master's house?" Okay, so basically, the servant went and caught up with him, and he basically asked that question. And each of them quickly lowered their sacks and opened them. Because, they knew they didn't steal anything, but, I freely let you search my stuff to, show you that I'm innocent. But in this case, the cup was found in Benjamin's sack, because that's the cup that Joseph told him to put the cup in. That's the sack that Joseph told him to put the cup in. Anyway, so they all had to return back to the city. And when they got there, Joseph said, "Only the man who was found with the cup will be my slave. The rest of you go back to your father in peace." Then Judah went up to him and said, "Pardon your servant. Let me speak a word." So basically he's saying, "Can I have a word with you? If you don't mind." Verse 34, "How can I go back to my father if the boy is not with me? No, do not let me see the misery that would come on my father." So when Judah spoke his piece, he explained to him that, his father's already broken up about Joseph, and they lied to him talking about he was slaughtered by a ferocious animal. Then they had to leave one of the brothers there while they went back home after buying, grain and stuff. And then Benjamin had to go back with him. And you telling me I gotta go back without Benjamin and tell my father these words too? So yeah, he's basically saying, I can't do it. You have to let me take his place. So that is the end of that. that was chapter 44. This is where we pick up, chapter 45. Let's dive in. Then Joseph could no longer control himself before all his attendants, and he cried out, "Have everyone leave my presence." So there was no one with Joseph when he made himself known to his brothers. And he wept so loudly that the Egyptians heard him, and Pharaoh's household heard about it. Joseph said to his brothers, I am Joseph. Is my father still living? Goodness gracious. Get it together. Is my father still living? But his brothers were not able to answer him because they were terrified at his presence. I'm not ready today. I'm trying to get there, y'all. Bear with me, please. Bear with me. Verse 4. Then Joseph said to his brothers, "Come close to me." When they had done so, he said, "I am your brother Joseph, the one you sold into Egypt. And now do not be distressed, and do not be angry with yourselves for selling me here, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you." 6. For 2 years now there has been famine in the land, and for the next 5 years there will be no plowing and reaping. But God sent me ahead of you to preserve for you a remnant on earth and to save your lives by a great deliverance. So then it was not you who sent me here, but God. So he didn't blame them at all for what they did. So I guess I take back what I said earlier about him being upset at them. I would have been pissed. It might would have killed one of them. I don't know. But I mean, he still got my respect. He's a good man. It all turns out he's still a good man. Let's see. Verse 8. So then it was not you who sent me here, but God. He made me father to Pharaoh, lord of his entire household and ruler of all Egypt. Now hurry back to my father and say to him, this is what your son Joseph says. God has made me lord of all Egypt. Come down to me. Don't delay. You shall live in the region of Goshen, Goshen. You shall live in the region of Goshen and be near me. You, your children and grandchildren, your flocks and herds, and all you have. I will provide for you there, because 5 years of famine are still to come. Otherwise, you and your household and all who belong to you will become destitute. 12. You can see for yourselves, and so can my brother Benjamin, that it is really I who am speaking to you. Tell my father about all the honor accorded me in Egypt. Let's go. Accorded me in Egypt, and about everything you have seen. And bring my father down here quickly. 14. Then he threw his arms around his brother Benjamin and wept. And Benjamin embraced him, weeping. And he kissed all his brothers and wept over them. Afterward, his brothers talked with him. When the news reached Pharaoh's palace that Joseph's brothers had come, Pharaoh and all his officials were pleased. Pharaoh said to Joseph, tell your brothers, do this. Load your animals and return to the land of Canaan. And bring your father and your families back to me. I will give you the best of the land of Egypt, and you can enjoy the fat of the land. You are also directed to tell them, do this. Take some carts from Egypt for your children and your wives, and get your father to come. Never mind about your belongings, because the best of all Egypt will be yours. 21. So the sons of Israel did this. Joseph gave them carts as Pharaoh had commanded, and he also gave them provisions for their journey. Tongue and everything messed up. To each of them he gave new clothing, but to Benjamin he gave 300 shekels of silver and 5 sets of clothes. And this is what he sent to his father: 10 donkeys loaded with the best things of Egypt, and 10 female donkeys loaded with grain and bread and other provisions for his journey. Then he sent his brothers away, and as they were leaving, he said to them, Don't quarrel on the way. So they went up out of Egypt and came to their father Jacob in the land of Canaan, they told him, Joseph is still alive. In fact, he is ruler of all Egypt. What the hell? Jacob was stunned. He did not believe them, but when they told him everything Joseph had said to them, and when he saw the carts Joseph had sent to carry him back, the spirit of their father Jacob revived. And Israel said, I'm convinced my son Joseph is still alive. I will go and see him before I die. Chapter 46. So Israel set out with all that was his, and when he reached Beersheba, he offered sacrifices to the God of his father Isaac. And God spoke to Israel in a vision at night and said, Jacob, Jacob. Here I am, he replied. I am God, the God of your father, he said. Do not be afraid to go down to Egypt, for I will make you into a great nation there. I will go down to Egypt with you, and I will surely bring you back again. And Joseph's own hand will close your eyes. Whoa, that is almost creepy. Verse 5. God, that's just verse 5. Then Jacob left Beersheba, and Israel's sons took their father Jacob and their children and their wives in the carts that Pharaoh had sent to transport him. This whole Jacob and Israel thing is killing me. I just want to choke these people. One name, that's all we need. So Jacob and all his offspring went to Egypt, taking with them their livestock and the possessions they had acquired in Canaan. Jacob brought with him to Egypt his sons and grandsons and his daughters and granddaughters, all his offspring. These are the names of, oh no, we're not finna do that. Oh no, we are not. These are the names of the sons of Israel, in parentheses, Jacob and his descendants, who went to Egypt. Nope, not gonna do it. These are the names. Verse 8 in chapter 46. These are the names. I'll be damned. I'm not gonna do it again. Nope. Not gonna do it. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, here we go. Verse 26. So from verse 8 to 26. I'm starting at 26. Damn all that. Y'all go read it. All those who went to Egypt with Jacob, those who were his direct descendants, not counting his sons, wives, numbered 66 persons. With the two sons who had been born to Joseph in Egypt, the members of Jacob's family which went to Egypt were 70 in all. Now Jacob sent Judah ahead of him to Joseph to get directions to Goshen. When they arrived in the region of Goshen, Joseph had his chariot made ready and went to Goshen to meet his father Israel. As soon as Joseph appeared before him, he threw his arms around his father and wept for a long time. Israel said to Joseph, now I am ready to die, since I have seen for myself that you are still alive. Then Joseph said to his brothers and to his father's household, I will go up and speak to Pharaoh and will say to him, my brothers and my father's household who were living in the land of Canaan have come to me. The men are shepherds, they tend livestock, and they have brought along their flocks and herds and everything they own. When Pharaoh calls you in and asks, what is your occupation? You should answer, your servants have tended livestock from our boyhood on, just as our fathers did. Then you will be allowed to settle in the region of Goshen, for all shepherds are detestable to the Egyptians. Chapter 47. Joseph went and told Pharaoh, my father and brothers with their flocks and herds and everything they own have come from the land of Canaan and are now in Goshen. He chose 5 of his brothers and presented them before Pharaoh. Pharaoh asked the brothers, what is your occupation? Your servants are shepherds, they replied to Pharaoh, just as our fathers were. They also said to him, we have come to live here for a while because the famine is severe in Canaan and your servants' flocks have no pasture. So now, please let your servants settle in Goshen. Pharaoh said to Joseph, your father and your brothers have come to you, and the land of Egypt is before you. Settle your father and your brothers in the best part of the land. Let them live in Goshen. And if you know of any among them with special ability, put them in charge of my own livestock." Then Joseph brought his father Jacob in and presented him before Pharaoh. After Jacob blessed Pharaoh, Pharaoh asked him, "How old are you?" And Jacob said to Pharaoh, "The years of my pilgrimage are 130. My years have been few and difficult, and they do not equal the years of the pilgrimage of my fathers." Then Jacob blessed Pharaoh and went out. Oh, okay. It's like whatever. Anyway, then Jacob blessed Pharaoh and went out from his presence. 11. So Joseph settled his father and his brothers in Egypt and gave them property in the best part of the land, the district of Rameses, Rameses, as Pharaoh directed. 12. Joseph provided his father and his brothers and all his father's household with food according to the number of their children. There was no food, however, in the region because the famine was severe. Both Egypt and Canaan wasted away because of the famine. Joseph collected all the money that was to be found in Egypt and Canaan in payment for the grain they were buying, and he brought it to Pharaoh's place. When the money of the people of Egypt and Canaan was gone, all Egypt came to Joseph and said, "Oh my God, give us food. Why should we die before your eyes? Our money is all gone." "Then bring your livestock," Joseph said. "I will sell you food in exchange for your livestock, since your money is gone." So they brought their livestock to Joseph, and he gave them food in exchange for their horses, their sheep and goats, their cattle and donkeys, and he brought them through that year with food in exchange for all their livestock. 18. When that year was over, they came to him the following and said, "We cannot hide from our Lord the fact that since our money is gone and our livestock belongs to you, there is nothing left for our Lord except our bodies and our land. Why should we perish before your eyes? We and our land as well. Buy us and our land in exchange for food, and we with our land will be in bondage to Pharaoh. Give us seed so that we may live and not die, and that the land may not become desolate." So Joseph bought all the land in Egypt for Pharaoh. The Egyptians, one and all, sold their fields because the famine was too severe for them. The land became Pharaoh's, and Joseph reduced the people to servitude. From one end of Egypt to the other. However, he did not buy the land of the priests, because they received a regular allotment from Pharaoh and had food enough from the allotment Pharaoh gave them. That is why they did not sell their land. Joseph said to the people, now that I have bought you and your land today for Pharaoh, here is seed for you so you can plant the ground. Here's seed for you so you can plant the ground. That's what it said. But when the crop comes in, give a fifth of it to Pharaoh. The other 4/5 you may keep as seed for the fields and as food for yourselves. For yourselves and your household and your children. I hate the way the Bible is written. I really do. Verse 25. You have saved our lives, they said. May we find favor in the eyes of our Lord. We will be in bondage to Pharaoh. So Joseph established it as a law concerning land in Egypt, still in force today, that a fifth of the produce belongs to Pharaoh. It was only the land of the priests that did not become Pharaoh's. Now the Israelites settled in Egypt in the region of Goshen. They acquired property there and were fruitful and increased greatly in number. Jacob lived in Egypt 17 years, and the years of his life were 147. When the time drew near for Israel to die, he called for his son Joseph and said to him, "If I have found favor in your eyes, put your hand under my thigh." All right? Put your hand under my thigh and promise that you will show me kindness and faithfulness. Do not bury me in Egypt, but when I rest with my fathers, carry me out of Egypt and bury me where they are buried. I will do as you say, he said. Swear to me, he said. Then Joseph swore to him, and Israel worshipped as he leaned on the top of his staff. Okay. Y'all, I think I'm gonna leave it there. Yeah. Joseph had his family come to Egypt. He took care of them. Although everybody was running out of food over there, and people basically sold everything they had, including their lives, in order to survive. Names. I refuse. Sorry. But chapter 46, verse 8 through 26. Read it for yourself. I ain't doing it. What else we got? Blah 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 blah. That's pretty much it. Joseph revealed who he was. They wept. They caught. Well, I'm gonna say caught up, but they wept. They praised each other. Joseph sent for his family to come back. Pharaoh approved. All of that. Joseph still has my respect. I like him. I really like that dude. But anyway, everybody, thanks for watching. We it looks like we have chapter 48 is next. So, I mean, that's gonna be the last episode of the book of Genesis. That's gonna be it. The Exodus of Genesis. Then we're gonna be in Exodus. But yeah, everybody, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good jazz. You know what to do. Yeah, I'll see y'all next time. Till then, peace.